SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Waiting. You do it at grocery stores, in traffic, and at the doctor's office. But what if you could skip the wait altogether? Introducing Trust Care Plus, a healthcare membership that makes feeling better even faster. Skip the waiting room and enjoy priority access at any Trust Care clinic. Sick kid? Text your care crew day or night. Get discounts on prescriptions and so much more. Wait no more. Feeling better just got a whole lot faster. Join Trust Care Plus today. Plans start from just $15 a month. Learn more at trustcarehealth.com/plus.
Roll pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Roll A, fade up on A.
Southern Miss to the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
All right, SuperTalk Eagle Hour is on the air. Bob Getty back with my buddy Kelly Santer. We're in Laurel at the Annual Prancer Path event here for Christmas. And Kelly, good to be back. I'm assuming you missed me terribly.
Back from North Georgia.
North Georgia, baby.
Yeah, it took you as long to get from the ATL to Laurel as it did from Laurel to Hattiesburg.
Well, I went through the ATL yesterday, and I could not help but think about you. That is for sure. Very disappointed there were no peaches, as there wasn't peach season.
A lot of traffic in the ATL, huh? Especially around holiday time.
Way too much. Made me appreciate my little hometown, my friend.
I hear you.
Hey, our remote here, our coverage of Prancer Path 2025 is sponsored by Legacy GMC of Laurel, the City of Laurel, the Swamp Shack Barbecue House, Health Markets in Ellisville, Blossom and Gas of Laurel and Taylorsville, and Gold Mine Pawn and Gun. We'll be talking to Betsy Ivey, who's the Executive Director of the United Way of the Pine Belt, later in the show, Johnny Magee, the Mayor of Laurel. But first, we've got a lot of sports to talk about, so we bring Lee Roberts on, our dear friend and color commentator for Southern Miss football, does play-by-play for Lady Eagle basketball. Hey, before we get to football, my friend, I want to tell you before I left, I caught a little bit of one of your broadcasts when the voice disappeared, man. What happened?
Man, it was just one of those things, and I don't know if it was the doubleheader or if I was trying to come on with something, but I felt it the night before, just my throat, my voice kind of starting to leave me, and just talking through the first game and then getting into the guys' game. It got really bad. I hated it for the listeners that had to hear that. And I honestly couldn't even finish. I think Larry ended up having to talk like the last 6 minutes of the game all by himself. So I think it's back. I can still tell, like in the evening times, it gets a little weak. So I don't know. I've just had a cough drop in my mouth ever since. So just trying to protect it.
I know what it was. It was your wife's answer to prayer.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's funny. That's when Larry even said it on the broadcast. He said, Lee, my buddy, I'm missing your voice, but when you get home, your wife may be glad.
All right, Lee, a lot of marbles on the table Saturday afternoon, and I know fans are disappointed that the Golden Eagles have lost a couple of games here lately, but you got to put all that on the shelf because there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake this weekend. And as a former player that played at such a high level, who's the pressure on? Is the pressure on Troy, or is the pressure on Southern Miss because of the recent setbacks?
I think the pressure's on Southern Miss.
I agree.
I agree. We could have clinched this thing by now with, the helps of some teams beating Troy. I mean, Old Dominion beating Troy. I mean, there was a time where we could have won the last two games, and we'd have been the Western champs going into this weekend. But it didn't work out. We still have the opportunity ahead of us, but I'm glad for the build up for the game. I think it's going to be really, really good. So I hope the fans come out to support our team. But the build up's great. Both teams are 7-4. Both teams are 5-2 in the conference. The winner's going to go on to play James Madison. I think it's going to be one of the bigger games that we've hosted at home in a while, and we got to show up, man. I know that's for sure. We've got to show up. That's talking about the team, because we hadn't played well the last 2 weeks, and we've got to get things changed and figured out for sure.
But what is especially concerning for me, Lee Roberts, is Texas State comes in here and gashes the Eagles for about 300 yards rushing. So you think, okay, well, they'll get that fixed. Well, then they turn right around and give up almost another 300 yards, the next week to South Al, who, by all rights, had not been that great of a running team. So what, as a fan, I'm sitting here going, how are we going to fix this week? I mean, it hasn't been fixed in 2 weeks. And Marshawn Kenny talked earlier in the week that they're running at personnel, not necessarily any other thing other than trying to take advantage of personnel. How are we going to get this changed this week if it wasn't fixed last week?
I mean, it's the $1 million question. I mean, obviously, we've got to just be able to control the line of scrimmage. Defensive fronts have got to be able to stay, hold their ground, and just really not be out of position. I feel like we kind of gamble at times and maybe kind of pick a gap, and they end up going in a different gap because there's times where holes or you could drive a truck through them. They're so big. But, and really outside of that, we didn't tackle well. I mean, there were times against Texas State and for sure Saturday, South Alabama's running backs at the point of contact, they're still going to pick up 3, 4, 5, 6 yards if they don't break a tackle and go for 20 or 25 or a score. So we're not tackling very well at all on the defensive side. And I think that's an easy fix. That's just something you just get back to the drawing board and get back to the basics and just have a good week of practice on fundamentals. And, I'm going to expect, I mean, these last 2 weeks, they scared me because I knew Texas State was on the brink of being really good. South Alabama was on the brink of being really good, even though their records didn't show it. We know Troy is going to be good, so we will have the right mindset for sure going in.
But here's the other thing that's been concerning. The last 2 weeks have mirrored. The Eagles get behind early and big to where the hole is too big that they cannot dig themselves out of. One of the people are asking me, Kelly, what are you looking for in this game coming up with Troy? I said the first half. The first half, you can't fall behind 27-10 or 28-7 and expect, even at this point, to be able to come back and win these games. Is that fair?
No, I think it's very fair. And Troy hasn't been a great first quarter team, and they haven't been a great team that has run the ball this year. But we've got to be a team that keeps the offense on the field. We can't start the game with a 3-and-out and give the ball right back to the opponent. We just can't do that. We've got to be a team that can take the football down, sustain a drive, and put points on the board early. It's a team that doesn't play well until something good happens, and so we need something good to happen early on Saturday.
Kelly makes a good point, doesn't he, Lee? I mean, as long as what teams like South Al and Texas State are doing that are successful, Troy's just going to keep doing the same thing until Southern Miss can prove they can stop that, correct?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's what you do as football teams and coaches and game planning. I mean, you look at what other teams did successful and you implement that and you work on that. I mean, you run your system, but you also make sure that you're able to do that as well. And I fully expect Troy to try to come in here and, establish the running game early. So I think that'll be, you may see an extra guy in the box. You may see a defender come down on run support early. But on the flip side, we don't need to give up a big play as well. So, I think that's exactly what Troy will do. That'll be their game plan for sure coming in.
Real quickly, the Eagles were a much better team in the second half last week as opposed to the first half. What were they doing in the second half that they weren't necessarily doing in the first?
Well, I said something on the broadcast, and I think I said it really before I even thought about it. But we were attacking the secondary. I felt like our wide receivers were much better than their secondary, and I wished we would have thrown the ball deeper early on. There may have been a reason why we didn't. Maybe it was just due to the injury of Braxton, but we did. We started attacking the secondary vertically, and we were able to hit some big plays. I know Chester had a couple really nice catches and a couple touchdowns. Yeah. And I think that'll be what we need to do as well. I mean, establishing the running game is so important. It opens up the pass, but I think too when you try to stretch the field vertically, it helps open up play calling as well. So hopefully we'll kind of pick up where we left off of on Saturday throwing the football and try to do that early. I mean, like I said, we're a better team when something good happens, and I'd love to see us take some shots early.
Hey, real quick before we run out of time, Lee, you observed Braylon Braxton playing Saturday. You feel like he's back 100% healthy, or do you think maybe he's playing with a continuing, nagging problem?
Yeah, I think it's still a nagging problem, but he's such a competitor. He's not going to sit on the sideline another game. I think you have to have him to win on Saturday. He doesn't move in the pocket as well as he would if he was healthy. He's not going to be a threat to run the ball. I think you get an opportunity to win this week, and you give him another week, hopefully, for a conference championship, possibly to be healthy, but definitely by a bowl game. I think you'll see the healthy Braylon. I mean, we're a better team when he's healthy, so we've got to get him back to 100%. Right. But I just don't think he's quite there yet.
Well, I'm glad that voice is back to 100%, my friend. So,
I appreciate it.
but because it is, he becomes a nagging problem for his wife.
That's exactly right, for sure.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving to y'all.
Same to you, my friend. All right, we're in Laurel, Prancer Path. 2025. Everybody's having little voice problems this time of the year, I think. We'll be right back. More from Laurel. Stay with us.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Special edition of the Eagle Hour in Laurel today. Bob and Kelly, we're at the United Way office here in downtown Laurel. Prancer Path 2025, where they set out these beautiful Christmas trees. Local businesses here in Laurel sponsor the trees, and it's a great fundraiser for the United Way. And talking about the United Way is joining us now Betsy Ivey. She's the executive director of United Way of the Pine Belt. And Betsy, thank you for coming on. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, you are most welcome. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Holiday season officially here. And
it is here.
United Way does great work all year long, but particularly this time of the year, I think. What are some of the things that the United Way of the Pine Belt is involved in during the holiday season, Betsy?
Great question. So first of all, we serve 5 counties, Jones, Jasper, Smith, Wayne, and Covington, and we try to make sure that all of those citizens have everything that they need for staying warm. That's a big thing that we do. We send a monthly check to 14 other charities that serve the same areas so that they have money they can count on to keep their lights on. And then we also have been doing some storm work. We're trying to fill the needs for everyone. And we can pay utility bills for people who have had something all of a sudden catastrophic happen in their life. And we get documentation from them. And then, for many people, we can help them with their bills.
When you're fortunate and the holidays arrive and you have plenty of resources to take care of everyone in your family and whatever you need, I guess you could take that for granted, but there's so many people who don't.
There are a lot of people hurting, and they're just out of sight. I mean, just kind of, if you scratch the surface, invisible a little bit. There are a lot of people living in substandard housing that can kind of rock along when times are okay, the weather's temperate, but you let the weather dip down into freezing temperatures or extreme heat, and people in homes that have holes in the roof, holes in the floor, broken windows, they really struggle. So a lot of times people think of the homeless only, in extreme times, but they're in a way almost a little bit fortunate because they're hiding in plain sight. So people will ride by and hand them a blanket or buy them a meal or something. But people who are struggling in their homes are really invisible, as you say.
Lots of times you'll see them actually turn on their ovens or stoves as a source of heat.
Yes.
And that's dangerous.
Yes,
Of
it's
course
so dangerous. So people will do extreme things to stay warm. You're exactly right. And they'll run little heaters too close to their bed or too close to their recliner. So it's documented that house fires almost double in the months of November through January, February. So our calls for help during those months to help our fire families almost double.
Each year, Betsy, the United Way goes through a recertification process with the different businesses or outreach communities that are asking for help from the United Way. And that's a way of being good stewards of the money that it's raised. Tell us more about that.
So every year, the agencies that we support, it doesn't just roll over, as you say. They have to reapply, and then we solicit help from just citizens in the community, and we call it Citizens Review, and we let those individuals go in and visit the agencies that are applying for funds. They look at their facility, they look at their books, they interview them, and although the money we give is unrestricted, we don't mandate what they do with it. We do make sure that they are spending it here on people in this community. That's really our only requirement. And so for agencies that maybe are sending it to a home office in Timbuktu or something, that's a no-no. And if they can't validate that they're, spending it on local citizens, then they don't get renewed.
And I know that it's one of the goals of the United Way not to duplicate services. For example, have 16 different food soup kitchens or whatever you want to call it. Food pantries. Food banks or food pantries. You try to make sure that a lot of different needs are met in different ways and not just put all the eggs in one basket, so to speak.
That's exactly right. Now, we do sponsor 3 food pantries, but we sponsor one in Wayne County and 2 here, but now we sponsor the Glory House Food Pantry and Salvation Army right here in Jones County, but they themselves sponsor many other counties. Their outreach is even, wider than ours. So it's not like we're duplicating there because they're feeding a lot of people.
And I imagine that the recent government shutdown, you guys had your demands exceeded like never before.
Our phone has rung off the hook with people who are having to spend their money to buy food for their family. Now they can't pay their utility bills or their water's being shut off, heat, whatever. So, yes, our calls have really gone up.
So how does Prancer Path connect to the United Way of the Pine Belt?
Well, it has actually become our largest fundraiser.
Really?
Over the past 5 years, the Prancer Path fundraiser has brought in $116,000 into the United Way. And we are so very thankful for that. And it just allows us to serve more people. We can buy more blankets and we can pay more bills and we can increase the amount that we send to our agencies. So it's been a lot of work. I'm sitting here soaking wet, thankful this is radio and not TV because it's raining out there while we set up. But it's become the biggest thing that we do. And it's given us an awful lot of visibility in the community.
Well, if it makes you feel better, every time Kelly and I look in the mirror, we're thankful it's radio and not TV as well.
Now, the listeners ought to be thankful.
The listeners are really thankful.
Oh, no.
And really,
great.
But as old as Bob and I are, the concept of Prancer Path, we had never run across until we met up with you guys a couple of years ago. So tell us about the genesis of the idea.
Sure, absolutely. So we're kind of copycats. This was an idea brought to me. I started here 5 years ago, and one of my board members, Sylvia Clark, said, hey, they do something similar to this in Huntsville, Alabama called the Tinsel Trail. And she said, what do you think? I've kind of pitched it to other community groups, and everybody says it's too much work. And I said, I don't back down from anything. So we decided to do it. The first year we thought we might sell 25 trees, and we sold 65.
Wow.
And since that time, we've had over 100 trees down there in the back lot.
Now, it's actually going to open tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes, it was supposed to open tonight, but the weather was not our friend, so we had to bump it to tomorrow night. So opening night tomorrow night at 6:30.
So if you like lights and decorations and different colors, and I mean it's all the holiday. And then what happens to the trees afterwards, Betsy?
Well, they're out there for almost 40 days, and so they get a little dry and crispy. And then it's a funny thing, my phone starts ringing off the hook from people who have ponds.
Exactly.
And
they
are looking for fodder for brim beds.
That's right.
So it's funny because I have to keep a list of who I promised trees to, and this pile is for this group, and this pile is for this group, and they'll get down there and fight over them. So I never have to worry about dragging them off.
It's funny you say that. Kelly, when I was raising my children in the Delta, a lot of fishing up there. My son and I would literally, we would try to collect as many Christmas trees as we could at the end of the year because we'd have spots in the lakes that we would go dump them.
Yeah.
And then we'd come back there a month later and we'd brim fish those spots. And so, people are doing that here as well.
That's exactly right.
And hear me swearing when my hook gets stuck on one of the branches.
That happens a lot. That happens a lot.
So is there a limit, Betsy, as to how many trees you guys can house?
Well, so it is in a parking lot, and again, the weather is kind of not our friend. We had one calamity down there this morning. Right before I came down there, their tree had a lot of weight to it, and then it rained, and then it was heavy, and it just snapped in half. So, we have our struggles because it's outdoor in a parking lot, and electrical is another limitation. So I've tried not to grow it beyond what we could manage. So we cap it at 100 trees.
When do you start this?
Well, actually, the minute we take it down, we kind of almost are starting over with the planning and plotting out what we will do new and unique next year. But we start setting up in earnest kind of about a month ago.
And when you make plans for the next year, where does that feedback come from? Any potential changes you might make?
Well, we get a lot of feedback just from the people who sponsor trees, and then we get some feedback from people who visit the path, kind of what they enjoyed, what didn't work, and then, so for instance, today, I probably will say next year, try not to use decorations that are really going to soak up moisture because it causes so much weight. We've learned a lot in 5 years. So a lot of the rules and regulations that we have been born out of problems that we've had.
And actually, Betsy, that's my problem. That's why I have a weight problem. I have absorbed way too much rain.
You tend to absorb moisture.
Yeah, I do, which is a personal problem.
But that's why your skin is so dewy and fresh looking, because you just have moisture rich.
Whoa,
there you go.
I've never heard that about him.
Thank you so much.
I've never heard that about you.
You just look so youthful.
You do look kind of dewy now that I think about it.
Well,
I'm not sure what that means, but I think you probably do.
I do moisturize.
There you go. There you go.
Tell us about the ways that you. Are you okay?
Well, I'm sure glad I'm back.
Tell me about the ways that you actually make money in the Prancer Path, real quick.
Donations. And then the sponsors who pay for the tree, it's $300 to sponsor a tree. But after that, it's open free to the public, and we love those donations.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
I'm just sorry you told him his skin looked good. I'll hear about that all during the holidays, Betsy.
Hey, call it like I see it.
Hey, thank you
Thank
very
y'all
much.
very much.
Betsy Ivey, everybody.
Did I tell you I moisturized?
I think you mentioned that.
Okay.
We'll be back with Scott Watkins. He doesn't have pretty skin like Kelly's, but he knows a lot about Troy University football. That's next.
You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour. The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. SuperTalk Eagle Hour is in Laurel today. We're at the United Way headquarters here, downtown Laurel, part of the 2025 Prancer Path event. I want to thank Gold Mine Pawn and Gun, Blossman Gas of Laurel, and Taylorsville Health Marts of Ellisville, the Swamp Shack Barbecue House, City of Laurel, Legacy GMC of Laurel for making today's on-the-road broadcast possible. We appreciate them. Encourage everybody to come down tomorrow night and enjoy Prancer Path here as the holiday season is really in full gear. All right, let's go down to the Gulf Coast and let's bring Scott Watkins on the show. He's a sports writer for the Biloxi Sun Herald, and ironically, ironically, and Scott's been on the show many times, he's a frequent guest, and so we know he's a Troy graduate. And so, Scott, I heard you kind of chuckle a little bit when I said, is Troy going to follow the South Owl, Texas State plan and just try to run the football down USM's throat? And you sort of laughed and said, yeah, probably so.
Well, that's what they should do. I don't know if it'll look the exact same as how Texas State and South Alabama did it. They both went lateral a lot. Troy does not do that at all. I mean, they don't pass the ball on the line of scrimmage compared to South Texas State really at all. So I'm really interested to see if they change that significant aspect of their game plan, because that worked for South and Texas State.
So what has been the Troy offensive attack plan all year, Scott?
Well, it's been two different things. It's been two different ways because you've had two different quarterbacks. You've had a guy who was more run first, and you've got a guy who started the year and who's come on here pretty late, and Goose Crowder, who throws the ball, and he threw the ball very well against Georgia State. So I think they spent the entire year still trying to figure it out. I don't know if they have figured it out. I'm not a big fan of their offense, to be honest with you, but I think what's going in Troy's favor is you really don't know what they're going to do, because they've had to run essentially two sets of the same playbook throughout the season.
And Scott, when you look at this Troy team, of course, Southern Miss, regardless of what happens, it's been a great season considering the expectations. How do you think that regardless of what happens with Troy, that Trojan fans are viewing this season?
Troy fans, I think they're good with it because they see improvement. They're not too upset right now. I would have to give it one more year. This isn't what Troy fans are really expecting at the end of the day, but it's as long as you get to a bowl game, you see the progress, and you got to also kind of factor in the landscape of the day as well. And
yeah, but I mean, considering that. Yeah, that neither team was really expected to compete necessarily for the Western Championship. Everybody thought it would be Louisiana and Texas State. I would think that even if the winner of this game happens to fall to James Madison, I would think that both fan bases would be all in all pretty happy.
Yeah, I think so too. Part of it for me, though, when I take a step back, is I see just how bad the West has been this year with some of those teams. I think that Troy is the biggest benefactor because I've watched them several times, and I'm not impressed whatsoever. But I think Troy's in a bowl game because Louisiana's not good, because ULM is not the same team it was last year, because Texas State is not good. Arkansas State had a rough start, so that also plays a factor in. How long is this going to last? Can the Sun Belt recover, or is this going to be an opportunity for certain teams to leverage their resources?
So is it fair to say that Southern Miss is kind of in that same boat, that Southern Miss has been a benefactor of a weak Western Division?
Maybe so, but when I watch the two, I see more identity with Southern Miss. I see more talent. I see you have the quarterback. You've got a quarterback that won a Sun Belt title. You've got a deep wide receiver room. You've got great secondary. At Troy, you're kind of like, you're wondering who's going to step up on a given day. And that's kind of where the difference is.
All right, so Southern Miss not playing well coming into the game. Go back 3 weeks with Troy. How has Troy played over the last 3 weeks overall, Scott?
Honestly, I don't even watch them. I watched their game last week against Georgia State. They got off to a really slow start before they turned that on. And that's when they got Goose Crowder out there. I do remember the Old Dominion game. That was pretty brutal. That might have been the worst Troy game I've watched in a really, really long time. And the one preceding that was also pretty rough. I mean, they scored 10 points between the Arkansas State game and the Old Dominion game. And in the first half against Georgia State, a lot of the same offensive struggles. So you could say that they're kind of in the same boat as Southern Miss, especially defensively, especially with that Old Dominion game. Southern Miss isn't going to do what Old Dominion did to Troy. But, they have been inconsistent throughout the year offensively. But you can't. I don't think you can factor that in, knowing that last week was the first time that you had Goose Crowder really unleashed in the offense.
So it sounds like if you're looking at this through your eyes rather than with your heart, sounds like you might like Southern Miss in this game, Scott, even though you're a Troy grad.
I've liked Southern Miss all year. I have told people since halfway through the season this Troy team is not good. I told you guys this Troy team was not good. And they haven't been good. The Arkansas State game, I thought, kind of indicated it. Then they just didn't show up against Old Dominion. They barely got by Georgia State. I like Southern Miss as long as Southern Miss figures out how to adapt defensively and get the ball rolling in the first half.
Now let me ask you this. The winner obviously will play James Madison. Would you agree that James Madison is the class of the league, and what chance would you give either team of going to James Madison and knocking them off?
James Madison is the class of the league, and I would give neither team a whole lot of a shot. More Southern Miss more so. You'd have to have a lot of things go right. You have a good opportunity in the first half. James Madison has a tendency to kind of play around or pick at their food a little bit before they turn it up there in the third and fourth quarters. So there's a chance, there's a window, but you have to play 4 quarters of near-perfect football.
Boy, he's so brutally honest, Bob. I would think dinner with the in-laws would be a little uncomfortable with Scott Watkins.
Could be. And Scott, is James Madison, you think, the group of 5 team that has a shot at making the national playoffs?
It's going to be tough when you have the American Conference Championship coming up. That's kind of been the game that's been the thorn in the Sun Belt side. That's been the roadblock for whatever Sun Belt team is contending for that. You typically have 2 very good American teams that are in that conversation, and one of those teams picks up a win against the other, and that's a big win for them. James Madison, sorry, they're not going to get one of those wins in the Sun Belt title game. So that's going to be a factor that the playoff committee is going to take in.
You don't sound like you think James Madison will have a shot, then, in other words.
I think they should get in. I would like to see them in. I think they have a shot. Mm-hmm. I think it's a long one.
Scott, a lot of people thought that even midway through this season that Charles Huff might be very high on a lot of schools' lists that have openings, and that list seems to get longer every day. But with the last couple of weeks and trials and tribulations that the Eagles have had, would that be more problematic for Charles Huff to be on those lists? Or what do you think his status would be, win, lose, or draw the rest of the season?
Well, you never really know, but I think after the last couple of weeks, if AD's had a list, and they all had a list, he might have slid down a few of them. But that's not something that if I was Southern Miss, I would be too worried about right now.
Interesting. We hear that the Tulane coach is a front runner to take one of the SEC jobs, perhaps Arkansas,
Auburn
maybe. Do you guys give much coverage to that down on the Gulf Coast? And if so, what would be your thoughts about that? And then conversely, we also heard that if that happened, the Tulane people would be interested in Charles Huff.
Yeah, I don't get into it too much. From what I've heard, everything. The big linchpin, obviously, is Lane Kiffin. What happens with Lane Kiffin? That Ole Miss job comes open, they're going to throw everything they have at John Summerall.
Interesting.
But as far as where Tulane's going to go after that, who knows? They have picked at the Sun Belt West before. They might do it again.
So here's the question: is Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss in your view?
I think so. I think it's 80% right now. 85% now.
To LSU.
Yeah.
I think as soon as that first domino falls, there's going to be a bunch of dominoes fall very, very quickly. And I think that's a perfect analogy of once that first domino goes, here goes the rest of them.
Well, if reports are true, I can think of 90 million reasons that he might go to LSU, as absurd as that seems. Scott, do you agree that this money's just gotten to the point of just being really absurd?
It is kind of wild to see it all get thrown around and to see the total buyouts get racked up every single year. You set a new record. It is getting a little out of hand.
All right, real quick, we're heading to the break. Give us your score for Saturday afternoon, Scott.
Let's go 31-17 Southerners.
Well, there we go. Hey, man, we always appreciate your time. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you.
Scott Watkins, everybody, Biloxi Sun Herald. I enjoy talking to him. He's an honest kid, isn't he?
I don't think he knows anything but to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of the
They
other
like
people.
to pick at their food. I like that. We'll be right back.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
Southern Miss to the top. To the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
All right, everybody, welcome back. SuperTalk Eagle Hour on the road in Laurel this afternoon. Tomorrow night, Prancer Path. Well, I have such a
Prancer Path. Yeah.
Kicks off tomorrow night.
The poly grip ain't working too good today.
No, it's the moisture outside, I think.
Did you say moisture?
Laurel Mayor Johnny Magee joins us right now on the Eagle Hour. Mayor, I'm going to embarrass you. I just said this in front of these guys, but it's true. I've observed you since we opened WLAU here a number of years ago, and it's always struck me that everybody's your constituent here. It doesn't matter what race. It doesn't matter what religion. Your objective always seems to me to have been to better this city. And you want everyone to benefit from that, and I thank you for that, because we don't see a lot of that anymore.
Yeah, well, I was born here, I was raised here, and I intend to be here, and I want it to be the best it can be.
And when you look at downtown, and I said this before as well, I don't believe there's a city in the state of Mississippi that can talk about downtown development and the success they've had more than your city. Give us the genesis of all of this here.
Well, a lot of people think it was the Hometown show. Hometown has a great deal to do with the success in downtown Laurel. But before Hometown,
you had started it then.
Exactly. We started a Main Street program. There were young people moving back to Laurel, Ben and Aaron Napier being two of those, and the Raspberries and several other people. But they began to invest in this city downtown, and during that time, the Hometown or HGTV saw Aaron's blog, and they were interested. They thought it was a good story, and she began to tell that story, and it's continued to be told. They're still filming today, but people care about the city. People want to invest in the city, whether they get the credit for it or not. They want this city to be the best it can be.
Now, you were raised here, right?
I was raised here.
Could you have ever envisioned a day when tourists literally from all over the world come to Laurel?
Never. When I was growing up, downtown was busy, but it was busy from local people, because downtown was it. You didn't have anything else. There was no 16th Avenue. There were no malls. You shop downtown. But now, as you say, people come from all over the world to Laurel, Mississippi, and they're downtown.
And one of the things you did to make Laurel better, Mayor, was to force Bob Getty to move out. Right? Property values skyrocketed and all that once Bob got out of here. But look, and I know this is about promoting the city.
Yeah.
But I told Bob on the way up here, one of the high school football stories of the season are the Laurel Golden Tornadoes. They were left for dead about 5 or 6 games into the season, said they were terrible, that a Laurel team has never been this bad. Right. And look at the only team left in the
Jones County
playing for a South State championship. How about that?
Exactly. We're hoping that they can go to Brookhaven and bring back a win so we can start preparing for the big game.
No question.
State championship game.
Yes.
You know, that's another thing about Laurel and Jones County that I think, Mayor, has made it the success that it is the support and the love of all the public schools.
Yeah, exactly. And, you see people coming to the games between the bricks that played for Gardner back in the 50s and the 60s. And they're still coming to the game, still loyal, still buying season tickets, and because they support the school.
Isn't that the oldest high school stadium in Mississippi?
I think it is.
It is, and I know it was the first lighted stadium.
So it's older than Kelly, the stadium?
It was built during the WPA.
Correct.
Under Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that
See,
right?
I even knew that, Bob.
Golly.
Life was good back then.
So Christmas obviously big here in Laurel. It's beautiful downtown.
It is. Christmas is huge. I know Thanksgiving is 2 days away, but we've been showing Christmas off downtown for the last 2 or 3 weeks because we want everybody to enjoy the most special time of the year. And we realize the ultimate reason is the birth of Christ, but it's also about family, it's about friends, it's about shopping, it's about enjoying downtown Laurel.
Yeah.
And it's radio, not television, but when he said Christmas is huge around here, he looked at my stomach.
I can't imagine why.
I can't either, but
Mayor,
anyway.
I see you have some construction going on downtown.
Yes, we do. We always have construction, it seems like, but it's a good thing. It's never a perfect time to do road work because it's always going to rain. It's always something else going on. We could stop and say, well, we'll wait till after Christmas and work on this, but you can't do it because if you wait till after Christmas, then it starts to rain and it starts to freeze and they can't work. So we are receiving a grant from MDOT to finish downtown on Central Avenue. It's going to be great when it's finished.
I don't mind telling you, I'm not saying it because you're sitting here. I think you are an example of what we all wished we had.
Public servants.
In our elected officials, Mayor. I really sincerely mean that. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Same to you.
Merry Christmas, and congratulations on the incredible job you guys have done here in downtown Laurel.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to wrap up Prancer, how you say it?
Prancer
Path. Thank you very much.
It's not that hard, Bob.
2025. Kelly and I will be back in the studio tomorrow. Thanks for listening, everybody. Southern Miss.
To the top.
Waiting. You do it at grocery stores, in traffic, and at the doctor's office. But what if you could skip the wait altogether? Introducing Trust Care Plus, a healthcare membership that makes feeling better even faster. Skip the waiting room and enjoy priority access at any Trust Care clinic. Sick kid? Text your care crew day or night. Get discounts on prescriptions and so much more. Wait no more. Feeling better just got a whole lot faster. Join Trust Care Plus today. Plans start from just $15 a month. Learn more at trustcarehealth.com/plus.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.